remember that night as if it were yesterday, even though my mind tries to erase it every single day. The full moon shone intensely in the sky, illuminating the darkness of the forest where I'd gotten lost. I was exhausted, hungry, searching for shelter among the trees, when I heard a sound, a deep, terrifying howl that froze my blood. I thought about running, but before I could react, something emerged from the shadows. It was a werewolf, massive, with red eyes that seemed to glow in the dark, and before I could scream, I felt its claws tearing into my flesh, ripping my skin. The pain was unbearable, like every inch of my body was being shredded and burned at once. That monster didn't just attack me, it marked me. It left something inside me that I could never remove. It blacked out right there on the damp, blood-soaked ground of the forest, certain I would die, but death didn't come. I woke up in a hospital, with doctors looking at me with curiosity and pity. They told me I had been found on the edge of the forest, wounded by wild wolves. The marks on my body, they said, were proof of a miraculous survival, something few could endure. But they didn't know. They had no idea what I truly faced that night. The days that followed were strange. My senses began to change. Everything around me seemed more vivid. The sound of footsteps in the hallway, the metallic scent of blood, the pulse of people nearby. Everything was amplified. And with that came a desire, something I'd never felt before, an insatiable craving for flesh and blood. I tried to fight it, ignored the voice whispering in the back of my mind. But the more I tried to push it away, the closer it crept, corroding me from within, turning me into something I no longer recognized. Then the first transformation came. The full moon was high in the sky when I felt my body pulled towards something darker, something uncontrollable. My heart raced, my muscles twisted, and my skin felt like it was on fire. It was as if my veins were filled with flames, as bones cracked, expanded, stretched, and shattered. I screamed, but the sound that escaped my throat was no longer human. It was a growl, deep and animalistic, a sound I barely recognized as my own. My skin tore as fur erupted in waves, covering my entire body. Every second was an eternity of pain, a torture that felt endless. When the transformation finally ended, I was no longer a man. I looked at my hands, now claws, covered in blood. I didn't know whose, perhaps some unlucky soul who crossed my path as I thrashed through the forest. There was no awareness, only instinct, hunger. I moved like a beast, hunting, searching for something, someone. And when I finally satisfied that craving, the feeling was a mix of pleasure and horror. At dawn, I returned to my human form, naked, covered in blood, with no full memory of what I had done the previous night. But I knew I had become something that would never be fully human again, nor fully animal. A dark fusion of both, a cursed beast. Today, I live under the weight of this curse. The pain of the transformation is unbearable, but the real torture is knowing that with each full moon, I lose control and hunt again. I live hidden, isolated, a shadow of the person I once was. Neither human nor animal, just a beast that feeds on lives, marked forever by a night I should never have survived. And this torment is something I will carry until my last days, a pain that will never end.